I really love something that you said at the beginning, to imagine our light, and then like everybody was this tiny light, and then be this like unity
Mm-hmm.
among us, and the pure love that it means to be compassionate. And in my head, I always thought like being compassionate is like putting yourself in the situation of other person and understand the different points of view. And I want to know if I'm confusing being compassionate with being empathetic.
I
And
don't think you're confusing it. No. Was there more you wanted to ask? Or
I wanted to understand like
yeah,
what is the concept of compassion, or what is the difference between compassion and empathy?
and empathy. So compassion, yes, it's about putting yourself in another person's shoes, but we do it at a very deep level. I, the soul, am in the shoes. And so if I can experience the soul, because it's the soul that's experiencing being in the shoes. And so if I can experience myself as a soul and the other one as a soul, it's natural. Compassion is a natural state of the soul. And so empathetic is, yes, this is the way you are. I totally accept that this is the way you are. And in both cases, in both compassion and in empathy, they're both empathy is kind of detaching. I didn't go into detachment because sometimes people don't like detachment, but actually it's a part of compassion. It's a big part of empathy. I, the soul, am experiencing you presenting yourself as a soul to me. And detachment simply means I don't need anything from you. I don't want anything from you. I'm not going to try to control you, but I'm giving you my good energy. And if you have good energy for me, I will accept it. If you have energy that's not good, I won't accept it. That's where the detachment comes in. And so they're both very good practices. But compassion begins with we have to understand what we have in common. Because, as I said, we're naturally compassionate, but there are people who it's very difficult to be compassionate for, right? Because we think they're obnoxious, they're wrong, they lie, they cheat, whatever it is that they do. And so this is where compassion is possible if we can at least, step inside their shoes and say, this is a soul just like me, a being of peace and love and light, but this soul doesn't know it. And I often forget that I'm a soul. And when I forget that I'm a soul, I can be annoying and obnoxious and manipulative. And so I can understand that as well, that we're souls, but we don't behave according to that reality, according to that truth. And so I also know if I'm being annoying or obnoxious and somebody tells me you're really obnoxious, it's going to make me feel worse. But if somebody accepts me and is gentle and peaceful and doesn't get involved in my energy, then I start realizing I'm putting out the wrong energy. And maybe that other person can even give me compassion. That compassion is like power that helps me to be better.
Thank you very much. I just want to share that I experience that at my work a lot. That when I deal with someone that is kind of, I don't know, like rude, or um, I don't know, like some behavior that I don't like. And what I realize is like when I am compassion
Mm,
and understanding, it gives me so much peace.
mm,
And um, now in my work, I really like to deal with this type of
mm,
people because it's like a challenge,
mhm,
and it makes me like, oh, I feel so good at the
mm,
end. And my coworkers are like, how, why do you like when people is screaming into you or something like that? I was like, I love it because I like, it's my practice
mm,
to be like, okay, when I talk with a person, it's like, oh yes, eventually I learn what happened to them. And
mhm,
I'm like, oh. I get it.
Mhm,
Probably I will react the same way.
mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's part of the understanding, to be willing to hear their story. You know, if it's a long story, maybe we don't have to hear it on and on and on, but enough to understand that there's reasons why people act the way that they do. Good, very good practice.